Boy, I don't know if y'all saw this, but Dr. Umar went off on the Shedeur sabotage that has been going on. Let's be clear. This sabotage has been going on since the damn draft. Since the damn draft, y'all. Let's stop playing games. The boy slid all the way to the 5th round. If you watched him at Colorado, he was never a 5th round pick. He was a top 2 quarterback in that draft. He was consensus over even Jackson Dart.
Hold up. Did Kevin Stefanski just become public enemy #1 in the black community? Dr. Umar Johnson is on a warpath right now, and what he's saying about the Cleveland Browns head coach and Shedeur Sanders has the entire NFL world in an absolute frenzy. This isn't just about football anymore, people. This is about something way deeper. And if you think you know what's going on, you don't know the half of it. Stay with me because what I'm about to break down will have you questioning everything you thought you knew about the upcoming NFL draft.
Without question, and we've talked about this before he went to the NFL, without question, Shedeur Sanders is being set up to fail as an act of revenge against his father. It's not Deion's fault. It's not Shedeur's fault. They just happen to be a father and son duo that has been extremely successful in American sports. They are self-confident, they are proud, and they don't kiss white people's ass. And because of that, they got to suffer for it. How in the hell do you send a rookie quarterback into a game?
What's good, family? Before we dive into this nuclear explosion that's happening right now in the sports world, make sure you smash that subscribe button and hit that notification bell because this story is developing by the hour and you do not want to miss a single update. So here's what's happening. Dr. Umar Johnson, the controversial educator, activist, and cultural commentator who never holds his tongue, just went absolutely ballistic on Kevin Stefanski, the head coach of the Cleveland Browns. And this isn't your typical sports criticism, y'all. This is about race, opportunity, legacy, and the systematic barriers that Dr. Umar believes are being put up against one of the most talented quarterbacks to come out of college football in years, Shedeur Sanders. Now, before we get into the meat of this situation, let's set the stage properly because context is everything. Shedeur Sanders isn't just any quarterback. This young man is the son of NFL legend and Pro Football Hall of Famer Deion "Primetime" Sanders. He's been groomed by one of the greatest athletes to ever play the game. Shedeur spent his college career absolutely dominating, first at Jackson State under his father's coaching, and then at Colorado when Deion took the Buffalo's job. The stats speak for themselves. We're talking about a quarterback with pinpoint accuracy, exceptional football IQ, leadership qualities that coaches dream about, and a work ethic that's been instilled in him since he could walk. Shedeur has shown time and time again that he has what it takes to be a franchise quarterback at the NFL level. But here's where things get interesting and controversial. Despite his obvious talent, despite his pedigree, despite everything he's accomplished, there's this weird narrative circulating around the NFL draft community. Whispers, doubts, questions about whether he's truly ready for the NFL. And that's where Dr. Umar comes in, because he's seeing something that a lot of people are either ignoring or are too afraid to talk about. Now let's talk about Kevin Stefanski and the Cleveland Browns. Stefanski has been the head coach of the Browns since 2020, and he won NFL Coach of the Year in his first season. Respect to him for that. But here's the reality. The Browns have been in quarterback hell for what feels like forever. They've cycled through Baker Mayfield, brought in Deshaun Watson with that massive controversial contract that's been an absolute disaster, and they've been desperately searching for stability at the most important position in football. The Browns need a quarterback. That's not opinion, that's fact. Enter the 2025 NFL Draft. The Browns are in a position where they could potentially draft Shedeur Sanders, a quarterback who many analysts believe could be a top 5 pick. This should be a no-brainer, right? A talented young quarterback available and a team desperate for answers at the position? But here's where things get interesting and controversial. According to Dr. Umar Johnson, Kevin Stefanski and the Browns organization are doing everything they can to avoid drafting Shedeur Sanders. And Dr. Umar isn't just speculating, he's calling it out as something much more sinister.
I'm not kissing no more white ass either. I'm not kissing no more white. If Archie Manning can be bold, if the white quarterbacks coming out can be bold, if Peyton can be bold, I can be bold. So in order to keep black athletes in their place, Art, especially the quarterbacks, we got to destroy Shedeur. Or should I say, we have to try to destroy Shedeur to put fear in the others. This is Willie Lynch, Art. What did Willie Lynch say? To control your slaves, you must put fear into the man.
In a recent video that's gone absolutely viral across social media, Dr. Umar Johnson didn't mince words. He accused Kevin Stefanski of harboring hate and bias against Shedeur Sanders, and he's connecting it to a larger pattern he sees in the NFL when it comes to black quarterbacks, especially those who come from prominent black families and who carry themselves with confidence and pride. Dr. Umar said, and I'm paraphrasing here, that Kevin Stefanski represents a system that feels threatened by young black men like Shedeur Sanders, who don't fit the mold of what the NFL establishment wants. They want black quarterbacks who are safe, who don't challenge the status quo, who are grateful just to be in the room. But Shedeur, he's the son of prime time. He carries himself with swagger, he's confident, he's been coached by a black coaching legend, and according to Dr. Umar, that is what makes the Kevin Stefanskis of the world uncomfortable. They don't want another black quarterback who knows his worth, Dr. Umar reportedly said. They don't want someone who's going to walk into that building with the confidence of knowing he's that guy. They want someone they can control, someone they can mold into what they want, not someone who already knows who he is. And y'all, when Dr. Umar talks, the black community listens. Whether you agree with him or not, the man has a platform, and he uses it to address issues that mainstream sports media often ignores or glosses over. Here's where this conversation gets really deep and why Dr. Umar's words are resonating with so many people. There's a long history in the NFL of black quarterbacks being treated differently than their white counterparts. We've seen it for decades. Think about it. Colin Kaepernick took a team to the Super Bowl and then got blackballed from the league. Lamar Jackson, despite winning an MVP, constantly has to prove himself and faced massive contract battles. Cam Newton, another MVP, was treated like damaged goods after injuries. Meanwhile, white quarterbacks get chance after chance after chance, even when they've proven they're not franchise material. The draft process itself often reflects these biases. Black quarterbacks are scrutinized more heavily. Their leadership is questioned. Their intelligence is questioned through coded language like processing speed or pro-style readiness. They're measured against different standards. And when a black quarterback comes from a prominent family, carries himself with confidence, and doesn't fit the humble or grateful narrative that the NFL establishment prefers, that's when the criticism really amps up. Dr. Umar is arguing that this is exactly what's happening with Shedeur Sanders. The talent is undeniable, but because he's Deion's son, because he's confident, because he's been outspoken, there's resistance from coaches like Stefanski, who, according to Dr. Umar, would rather draft a safer, read whiter, or more compliant option. Dr. Umar is connecting these dots and saying, wake up, people. This isn't about football talent. This is about something else. Now, to be fair, there are counter-arguments to Dr. Umar's position. Some would say, Stefanski has to make the best decision for his team, and maybe he genuinely believes another quarterback is a better fit for his system. The Browns are in a complicated situation with Deshaun Watson's contract, which might affect their draft strategy. Every team has different evaluations of prospects, and disagreements don't necessarily equal bias. Shedeur might genuinely have concerns as a prospect that have nothing to do with race, like adjusting to NFL speed or playing in a pro-style offense. These are legitimate points that deserve consideration. Not every decision in the NFL is about race, and sometimes a cigar is just a cigar. But, and this is a big but, Dr. Umar would argue that these explanations are exactly the kind of cover stories that get used to justify discriminatory practices. He'd say that the same concerns about Shedeur wouldn't exist if he were a white quarterback with the same resume. And when you look at the history of how black quarterbacks have been treated, his skepticism is unfounded.
Let's go back to the slave plantation. Good question. Let's go back to the slave plantation. On the plantation, Art, if you let one slave run away, this is why the slave master always sent trackers after the runaway enslaved African. People say, well, if you got, let's take Thomas Jefferson. He had 400 slaves. If one of them ran away, he would send the whole slave tracking power after that one runaway African. If you got 400, Art, why you care? Because if that one makes it, the other 399 enslaved Africans are going to also start thinking they can be free.
The reaction to Dr. Umar's comments has been insane. Social media has absolutely blown up with this story. Twitter/X is divided between people who think Dr. Umar is 100% right in speaking truth to power, and others who think he's reaching and making everything about race when it doesn't need to be. NFL analysts and commentators are being forced to address this issue now because Dr. Umar's platform is so large. Some are dismissing his concerns, others are cautiously agreeing that there might be something to what he's saying. Deion Sanders himself hasn't directly responded to Dr. Umar's specific comments about Stefanski, but Coach Prime has been vocal about protecting his son and making sure Shedeur gets to a situation where he'll be valued and developed properly. The black community, particularly black sports fans, are rallying around this conversation because it touches on something they've felt for years, that black athletes, particularly at the quarterback position, face different standards and different levels of scrutiny. Here's the million-dollar question. What does all this mean for the upcoming NFL draft? If the Browns do pass on Shedeur Sanders, especially if they draft a white quarterback or trade for a veteran, Dr. Umar's accusations are going to look pretty prophetic. The backlash could be massive, and it could genuinely affect the Browns' relationship with their fan base, particularly black fans. If the Browns do draft Shedeur, it could be seen as a response to the public pressure, but it would also be a win for those who've been advocating for him. Other teams are watching this situation closely. Shedeur is likely to be drafted high regardless of what the Browns do, but this controversy is adding another layer to an already complex draft process. At the end of the day, Dr. Umar Johnson's blast at Kevin Stefanski is about more than just one coach and one quarterback prospect. It's about representation, opportunity, and equity in the NFL. It's about whether black quarterbacks, particularly those who are confident and come from prominent families, get the same chances as everyone else. Whether you agree with Dr. Umar's specific accusations or not, he's forcing a conversation that needs to happen. The NFL has made progress on issues of racial equity, but there's still work to be done, especially at the quarterback position. So where do we go from here? The 2025 NFL Draft is approaching, and all eyes are going to be on the Cleveland Browns and what they do at the quarterback position. Kevin Stefanski is under a microscope like never before. Shedeur Sanders has even more motivation to prove his doubters wrong. And Dr. Umar Johnson, he's going to keep speaking his truth regardless of who it makes uncomfortable. This story is far from over, family. Make sure you're subscribed because we're going to be following every single development as it happens. Drop a comment below and let me know. Is Dr. Umar right about Kevin Stefanski? Is there bias against Shedeur Sanders? Or is this just normal draft evaluation stuff? Let's have that conversation. Until next time, stay woke, stay informed, and remember, in the NFL, it's not always just about what happens on the field. Sometimes the most important plays happen in the front office. Peace.